Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us here on What's Brewing with Jim and Gigi on this fine Wednesday morning, hump day. Getting closer and closer to the weekend, but of course, another weekend with some interesting weather.
Indeed, interesting. Yeah, good morning, folks. We're glad you're joining us this morning. And the next few mornings, you're going to have Charlie in here all day analyzing the storm. I'll give you what I'm seeing as well during these morning hits, our What's Brewing segment when we're back at 8. This is going to be a lot of an ongoing process with the weekends. And I'm assuming you know what I'm talking about. The weekend storm, first alert weather days, potentially impactful event. We're going to be working a lot on hammering out details. Again, it's Wednesday, we're still a good 3 days away from anything starting. Things are going to change and move around. So I say it all the time, I'm going to say it again. Don't lock in on anything too specific yet. A lot of work to be done on what could be potentially a very impactful event this weekend.
Okay, well, before we talk about everything going on this weekend and the cold temperatures that we're seeing and we've been seeing, we're going to talk about an urgent care center in Williamston that actually closed down about 10 days ago. In the middle of January, they had to close down because they were short-staffed. And this led to, there's no hospital in Martin County, Williamston area, and that was one of the only urgent care options for people to go to. Yes, exactly, especially for any kind of emergency in that situation. So this emergency center, or this urgent care center, quick care, has reopened. We've been able to talk to the vice president of operations quite a few times since they closed. So they've reopened, and they're offering now some virtual options just to kind of help, obviously, with in-person. They're having trouble with in-person providers, having them there. So they're having those virtual options for patients. So we're going to take a look at how everything is operating now that they've reopened.
For 10 days, Martin County was without their local urgent care.
This is very good that it's here, because I would rather go to Greenville. I could go to another one, but Greenville probably where I would probably go if they wasn't here.
Short staffing forced Carolina Quick Care Urgent Care in Williamston into a temporary closure, a closure that was lifted on Tuesday.
This morning we've already seen 3 patients.
Carolina Quick Care is using virtual medical providers for the time being.
So we have not filled any positions for our in-clinic providers. We are currently doing virtual visits with a team of telemed providers that we have.
And while that might seem unusual,
Funny, but it worked out okay. They were, it worked out all right. It didn't make a difference to me. It was just kind of funny when I went in there and I said, "Oh, this is my provider."
Carolina Quick Care says they heard the community and that using the virtual providers will allow them to be open even if it's less hours than before.
So we decided to pull together a team and get us to where we are open Monday through Friday with that virtual provider.
And the community seems happy with the solution as long as it means a local open urgent care in what some residents have called a medical desert.
Glad to hear residents are happy to see this open, but of course, from what we've heard from the vice president of operations there, they are looking for in-person medical providers and nurse practitioners, PAs, everyone who can, come in and actually provide that medical help to people in person.
The phrase medical desert, that says it all, doesn't it?
Yeah, speaks volumes.
You're just not out there. Yep.
Right. Lots to talk about.
We may have snow out there this weekend, trending like we probably will, but I have to be careful. Got to be careful with these storms. Let's dig in. Staying sunny and cold today. Highs yesterday we couldn't find 40. We'll struggle to do it again today. Tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. 40 degrees. Hard to come by until maybe the middle of next week. I'm talking teens, 20s, and 30s for the next 7 days. And everything freezing up solid out there. Let's jump to the weekend. So the latest model data. This is Friday, 8 p.m. This is one of several different models. Most of the data supports a storm off the coast this weekend. The question mark is how close will the storm be to the coast? If it tucks into what I call the sweet spot, maybe 50, 60, 70 miles offshore, we get a lot of precipitation, but it's far enough away to keep that precipitation, generally snow. You can see on the coast there, a little bit of a mixing on the outer banks, a little rain there, but generally that cold air will support primarily snow from this event. Not seeing a lot of sleet or freezing rain. That could change. If that low tucks in over us, most of the data says that's not going to happen, but sometimes you get a curveball. If that were to happen, if that L moves in over the sounds, it draws the marine air further inland. And then we go to more of a mix/rain event. Not seeing that with this one right now. Late Saturday, Saturday night, that's around midnight. Saturday night, that map you're looking at. Again, the white to blue is snow, light to heavier when you get into the darker blues. And again, right on the coast, a little bit of mixing there. Still seeing that wintry weather into Sunday morning, generally tapering down midday Sunday into the afternoon. All right, timing shifting, location of the low shifting, the strength or the coverage of the precip still shifting. A lot of variables, folks. Right now, I think we will see some snow, but it's way too early to speculate on accumulations and the timing shifting around. Saturday morning through Sunday evening, that's a wide window. We'll tighten that up for you a bit as far as the precip is concerned as we get closer. Primarily snow with some mixing possible along the coast. And again, too early to get into specific accumulation potentials. I'll tell you what, though, that frigid air, it's not going anywhere. Hanging around through the weekend. In fact, the wind will be howling this weekend. Temperatures in the 20s. It'll feel like the teens to single digits, I think, over the weekend, adding insult to injury. Those winds may bring a little bit of a beach erosion. A little coastal flood risk comes in as well as that storm cranks up off the coast. And then the storm leaves Sunday night. However, if we do indeed get some wintry weather over the weekend, we'll have black ice and slippery conditions for several mornings in a row, I think, as cold as it's going to be. Again, strong coastal storm over the weekend, much colder air than the last one, equals a primarily snow event potentially, and as we continue to work on how those accumulations might stack up. Stay tuned for that. And again, track shifts bringing some uncertainty to the forecast. Typical wintertime event, working on details. This morning, high clouds coming through, a little milky sunshine this morning, I'll call it. Air temp, yesterday I had a lot of teens on there, this morning mid-20s. Not a lot of wind, but some wind. 5-ish, maybe to 10 on the coast, we'll call it, enough to kick the wind chills occasionally towards the upper teens. It's still bitter cold, just not quite as bitter as it was yesterday morning. Tomorrow morning it will be again. There's my temps and wind chills over the next, I got 12 hours on there. 25 feels like 20 this morning, 38 feels like 34 this afternoon, give or take. All right, there's my highs. Those low 40s to the south, if you're lucky. I might be a little generous with those 40s down there, generally 30s for the bulk of us. You can see the winds. I'll take you into later today, tonight, tomorrow. Winds flatten a little bit to the west and then jump right back to the north tomorrow, ensuring that that cold air goes nowhere through the next several days. Generally north winds, wind chill values as we track them. Watch tomorrow morning now. Not a ton of wind, but enough to dip the wind chills to the low teens potentially. Never feels like we get much above freezing tomorrow afternoon as the cold air really takes over. The big map, and again, cold, 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 rolling down the east coast. Let's watch that low back to the west as it works eastbound. There's Thursday morning, still clear and quiet, bitter cold. The low will stay weak. That storm stays weak until it gets off the southeast coast. So you don't see much precip back there. Friday morning, we're good. Midday, we're good. Late afternoon, evening, clouds are thickening. That storm starts to redevelop off the coast, intensifying quickly out there late Friday night into Saturday. So the moisture fills in Saturday. The rain, the green, the blues are snow with just a narrow band of mixing out on the outer banks again as we get into Saturday, Saturday night, Sunday morning. Storm pulls away. That cold air goes nowhere. Continuing to stay locked in. Look at these numbers. 20 below zero wind chills in the Great Lakes into portions of New England. Cold air diving all the way into Florida with lows down into the 40s in Miami. They'll be staying inside. They'll issue a all points alert down there for that kind of cold. You can see Detroit at 10 below, Chicago 12, 20 below Minneapolis. Again, we're in that cold air here. The next, 7 nights or so, teens to 20s. Keep those faucets dripping, get those pipes insulated well, take care of the pets, the neighbors, and make sure those heaters are working well. Be safe with them. 8-day forecast. Cold, cold, cold. Highs struggling to find 40 until next Wednesday. That is a long run. Weekend highs in the 20s, and again with the wind blowing potentially, I think it'll feel 10 degrees colder than that. This is going to be a tough weekend. If this storm really materializes the way some of the models are painting, we could have a high impact event potentially. All right, that's what we're watching. Everything's out with the precip again Sunday night. Look at that, 14 degrees Sunday night. Could be a lot of slick spots out there. Groundhog Day morning. Again, Tuesday morning, trying to do some melting in the afternoons, Gigi, but that's going to be tough. When you've got temperatures struggling to get much out of the mid-30s. Now, sunshine will help regardless, and we should get sunshine helping that process. But I think we may have several slick mornings out there if the storm does indeed get us over the weekend. There's still the possibility that the track may shift a little further off the coast and keep the bulk of that precip offshore. That possibility is trending lower and lower, but it's still an outside chance, hoping maybe it can get a little further off the coast and lower the impacts a bit.
Okay, and like you said, if we do end up getting this storm in our path, could we all be seeing some kind of snow event? Is it widespread? How is that looking?
Generally across the board snow.
Okay.
I think the exception would be maybe on the Outer Banks, perhaps the Crystal Coast, and that looks like the only potential mix area. It would take a dramatic shift on that storm track more inland to change that thinking, but that cold air right now looks to stay locked in right through the coast. The only hope here is more that it shifts further away. And again, it may pull a real curveball and slide inland, but at this time, that's looking like a long shot. We may have our hands full this weekend. And again, as we get closer, we'll get more detail-oriented, timing-oriented. We'll get some potential snow totals to you as well.
Okay, sounds good. So overall, just looking at that time frame there, not seeing any kind of precipitation to Friday. It would, if it were happening, move in Saturday.
Yeah, I would say if things come together, we want to have everything pretty much wrapped up Friday evening. By the time we hit sunrise Saturday, things could be going downhill quickly. So my brain is thinking by Friday evening, and a lot of people are already ready because they got prepped pretty good from the last potential storm. But if you haven't gotten everything covered, check your meds again, make sure you got enough pet food and all that other stuff for a potential high impact event for the weekend.
Okay, great. Well, thank you for the update, Jim.
Yep.
Thank you all for joining us this morning. We have plenty of people in our comments on Facebook this morning. Thanks for joining us. Good morning to Esmeralda out of Chinquapin. Good morning to Billy out of Emerald Isle. Might also be howling with the wind. Yeah, be with the wind there. Amazing. Faye, good morning to you out of Ahoskie. Bobby from Kinston, good morning. And George, yes, stay safe, stay warm in this really, really frigid air. Good morning to Susan down in Stumpy Point.
Bob Daw, he's over in Blunt's Creek. Deborah with us from Janesville up in Martin County. Bethel, represented by Rita online this morning. We appreciate all you guys. And again, you can throw questions at us and try to get those answered as well. It's a good forum for you to kind of put some of those questions out.
Absolutely. Well, we will be back at 8 a.m. for another news and weather update, so hope you can join us then. Have a great day.
This hour of the WITN First Alert Desk is sponsored by Toyota of Goldsboro.